If I wouldn't have left and if I wouldn't have seen that, then I wouldn't be the person I am today. I needed to be grateful for all of the work, all the hard work. We've learned so much today. Obviously Whitney was buttering me up as well, saying that that's why I'm the closing speaker. But I really wanted to tap into the whole personal branding. It's been a couple of years that I've been doing Airbnb, probably about 7 years now. And obviously when I did start, it wasn't this huge Airbnb thing going on, especially here in El Paso, even Las Cruces, right? So it was very minimal. I think when I started, there were probably about 300 Airbnbs. Right now there's about 1,800. Still, there's not a lot. And if we compare to big cities, like we're nowhere near New York or anywhere in California, Phoenix, anything like that. Like there's I think in Phoenix, there's 20,000 Airbnbs available. And so we're not even close to that. But one of the ways that I was able to really grow my personal brand, like I mentioned before, it was through my last name. So it's very unique last name. You guys can make up your own name, right? Like it doesn't mean, but really owning your name. I think it starts with that. Like they don't know what their name is or their business, or it's like really bringing it out. And like once they see you, they recognize that brand from you. And so for us, it started with Made by Seoenz. And then I had to rebrand. And I ended up rebranding to my name, Heidy Seoenz. And so the reason why I had to do that was because I started fighting with the city about the Airbnbs. They wanted to set regulations on Airbnbs. They wanted to tax us. They wanted to do all of these things. And so just putting myself out there, I started going on the media. I just really like being at City Hall, working with city representatives, working with different partners. GEPAR is one of the biggest one, which is the Realtor Association here in El Paso, and also the El Paso Chamber of Commerce. And so that's when it really started to have that personal brand and growing my business with it. And that's what you can do as well. If you're a realtor, if your business, Gigi's or whatever your business is, really like make that name and make that name known. And one of the things that Wendy mentioned earlier is like, it doesn't matter if you have the best taco, but if no one knows that you sell them, if no one knows that it exists, then how do you plan on making money? It doesn't mean that you have to be the best at it, but you have to be the best known. So put yourself out there, tell everyone and their mom, hey, this is me, this is what I do. And that's what social media has brought to us. Like now we have it in our fingertips. We can search anything, we can Google anything. Like there's no reason for you to not know how to do something. We have YouTube University, like we have AI, like there's so many things that are changing. And obviously we've been in that entire time, like we have to be changing with the times. And it does feel, it's very challenging because especially I see my parents, they're from an older generation. They've been in business for so long. And when I started telling my parents, hey, like we need to move into online, they're like, no, we don't need to. COVID happened. Guess what happened? Everybody moved online. And there's things that force us to change. You are trying to take a step ahead. You're trying to stay ahead of the curve, the changing curve, because it's changing all the time. And I cannot tell you that I am an expert on social media, I'm trying to learn from Cesar just as much as you guys from TikTok Shop. But what I have learned through all these years is that your personal brand will leave a legacy, will grow with you, and that's what you're trying to get everyone to know. So it no longer matters what you sell in the future. I could sell you right now Mexican candy and you'll purchase it from me. Why? Because you learn who I am, you like who I am, and now I'm not purchasing the product. I'm purchasing her. I'm purchasing her recommendation. And so that's when you, as your name, starts to have a very heavy weight when you get into an event, when you get into a business. I believe that's really how it has been growing, especially for me. In this past year, I felt like everybody that was in real estate learned my name. And it was like, obviously, if you are in that same people are gonna learn about you. There's people that know me that I don't know them. There's people that come to my husband, they're like, hey, you're Heidi's husband, right? You're the Airbnb queen's husband. He's like, yeah, I am. And so it does start to get real, like, it is fun. And one of the things is that you have to find that niche that will make you rich. Like if that's what you guys are trying to do, which I feel that's what we're here today, it's that we're business owners and we're trying to get rich. Like we have to say it what it is. We want to sell, we want to make money. And you know, Cesar was like, well, I don't know what I do it. No, he does it for money, okay? We all do it for money. We want to make money. We want to leave a legacy. We want to have generational wealth. We want to provide for our children. We want to grow. We want to do something for the community. And when that becomes very genuine, that's why people like Cesar, like myself, like Gigi, like Whitney, like we start because it's genuine. Like we do it because we love to do it. We're passionate about it. Like we love what we do and we love what we bring to the table. And when you start being that genuine, people want to do that with you. Yes, you're excited for your shipment. Yes, you're excited for your product, but it's not about being excited for the product that it's finally here, that you paid for, that you've been waiting for months. No, it's the fact that, oh my God, now I get to share it with other people. Now I get to share it with them and they're gonna be so happy. Like your customer's gonna be the one that's gonna get the better end of the stick, right? Like, because now they're gonna get to enjoy that amazing event, or they're gonna get to enjoy that great experience at my Airbnb. And so I think like, it's just really like looking at in that point, finding that niche that will make you rich. Like, what is it that you're trying to do? What is it that you're good at? I mean, again, I'm an engineer. So I started working as an engineer. Yes, I always had that entrepreneurial spirit in me because my parents have always been business owners. But at the end of the day, I could have just chosen to stay at a job that gave me, you know, that steady paycheck. But it wasn't enough for me. Like I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be passionate. I wanted to love to wake up in the morning and go to work. Now I get to do that. I get to do that with my own time. I get to do that with my own flexibility. Like I get to choose that for us. And I feel a lot of the reasons why we decide to be business owners is because we want to not have maybe like a boss, but most importantly, we want to own our time. We want to be able to choose when we work and when we don't work. Maybe you're not there yet, but you will get there. Like you're working for that goal. Like really like seeing where do I want to be, it's gonna make like the biggest difference for yourself. So one of the things that I want to recommend you, because you guys have a lot of homework, but one of the things that I want to recommend you definitely is sitting down with your partner. If you're married, if you have a business partner, or just like you're on yourself, but really like set goals for yourself. Where do I want to be in the next year or 5 years? Every single year, my husband and I, we sit together and we make new goals for our family, for our business. Where do we want to be at? And then we get working on those goals. But a crazy thing that happens is that you tell your subconscious about the things that you want. And so we've gone through our 5-year goal that we set up in 2020. I think there's only 2 things that haven't happened yet. It's not that I'm thinking about them constantly. It's not that I'm working on them, or like, I just didn't know that I was working for them. But because you already set them up, because you already made, like in your brain, you already got the idea, hey, I'm gonna, like, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. Those things start to happen. So I'm huge on manifesting the life that you want, because it is so important for you to really say what you want and what you wanna get. You'll get there. If you don't speak nicely to yourself and kindly to yourself, if you're always saying negative things to yourself or about your business, well, guess what's gonna happen? What you say will come true. So you have to speak nicely to yourself, nicely, to talk nicely about others. And just to tag along what Whitney was saying, yeah, there's a lot of people that are gonna be negative at what you're doing, or they won't understand what you're doing. But do you understand what you're doing? Do you know what you're here for? What is that goal that you're working for? And so when it's so genuine and you understand it, like, it doesn't matter what other people say. You don't care about what they're saying, because you know where you're heading. And you know why you're doing it too. And so I really truly believe that if you stay genuine to the reasons why you're doing your business, and that you truly believe that what you're bringing for your business to your customer, it's gonna be better for them, then there's really no reason why people wouldn't want to get your product or come into your restaurant, come into your shop, or stay at your Airbnbs. See, that's pretty much what I've been doing all this time. Yes, I've built a brand so big, but it's all about systems. It's all about setting up people that, hey, can they do the work? Can this be rinse and repeat? And so every time someone stays at my Airbnb, it doesn't matter if they're staying at this location or that location, it's exactly the same. Different design, different bedrooms, but they get the same experience. They get freshly cleaned white linens all throughout. They get our personal toiletry kit that we made for Amazon, that we sell for other short-term rentals. Like, there's just so many ways for us to grow in our business, but you have to first choose that niche. So once you choose that niche, then you can branch out. That's the way that I've been able to grow my net worth exponentially. In the last 6 months, we grew our portfolio for about $2 million. But it wasn't until I actually focused. I focused and I said, okay, well, this is the business that is bringing me money. This is where I'm making most of my money, where I'm actually wasting my energy in everything else. And so I was like, okay, well, this is what it's bringing me money. Let's focus on this one. What other ways can I get this business to bring me multiple sources of income? I heard recently, probably on a TikTok, that they were saying, no, like, you shouldn't be looking for different multiple sources of income, because then you're never gonna make money. And it's not true. You first have to choose that niche, and then you can spread out, then you can branch out. But you never know what that niche is gonna be if you're not randomly trying different things. I mean, believe me, I've been an event planner. I've been doing so many crazy things that I'm like, oh man, never again. Like, there's things that you try and then you see, okay, that my passion and maybe my time, it's not there, my energy's not there, so then I'll try something else. And it isn't until you find that thing that makes you want to wake up in the morning and go, and you don't feel you're working, like you just feel like you're having fun and you're with your family and you're able to bring your daughter to work, or you can just, take off and go pick up your daughter, whatever it is that you're trying to do. I mean, I'm not like Cesar. I take vacations all the time, like all the time. And once a month we go on vacation. I just recently took my spring break trip to Rome. I mean, it was amazing. Like, my daughter, she enjoyed it. And it's kind of like, what do you work for, right? For me, it's travel. Like, I don't want to be overwhelmed. I need to kind of just relax. I need to go on a trip. Like, that's how I relax. But I think just more importantly, what I really wanted to focus on the personal branding side, it's really knowing and owning who you are, owning the business that you have, and start telling everyone what you're doing. And then people will later on continue to recognize you wherever you are. Oh, yes. This is you, this is that. And you no longer have to really promote yourself, put yourself out there. People will know you. People will know who you are. And then everything kind of, like, the sales come by themselves. Like, you no longer have to do anything like that. People recommend people. The word of mouth, even though we have social media, word of mouth continues to be my number one source of me making more money. A lot of real estate people know me, so then they'll recommend me and they'll say, hey, you want to start Airbnb? You should definitely talk to Heidy, or anything like that. I have so many people that just refer me because they know that I know my stuff. And the reason why it was so important, it's because I wanted to build something for the community. When I started teaching others how to do Airbnb, this was back in 2021. Like, we were going through a pandemic, but I saw the need for the community. There needs to be more Airbnbs. How can we get more Airbnbs? I'm not gonna start buying the whole town. Like, I wish I could, but I'm not there yet. And so I wanted more people to learn how to do that, because I know that it is a way to make money. And so that's why I was like, I'm gonna take time from my family, and I'm gonna build a workshop. And we created this workshop and we started doing live workshops, so that other people could learn how to do Airbnb, because I saw the need and I saw that people also needed that extra income. And so if they could make some extra money, then why wouldn't they? But I wanted them to do it the right way. And I wanted to be able to recommend them. See, if I don't know you, right? And if I don't know how you work, I can't recommend you. And that's kind of what I've always been. I haven't worked with you, I can't recommend you. I need to have worked with you personally for me to recommend you. But the moment that I work with you and you are what you say you are, trust me, I'm gonna be sending people your way, like, all the time, because I already worked with you. And the same was about teaching other people how to do Airbnb. I wanted to make sure that if I sent other guests their way, because I was completely booked, that I could be sure that they were gonna be having the same experience, the same treat as if they would have stayed with me. And so that's where it all started. Obviously, fast forward last year with the city wanting to do all of these different things to the Airbnb community, the short-term rental community, everything just kind of grew. I became the founder and president of the El Paso Short-Term Rental Alliance. Oh, thank you. And so from there, it just kind of like exploded in this whole idea of, now if there's any issue with Airbnbs, I'm the one to call. I didn't sign up for this, but here we are. So that's kind of like where it's all been headed. But if I would have been thinking back then that I would be here today, that I would be in this position, president of the Alliance, or having to make sure that every Airbnb owner had a say, that we had something to bring to the table, I mean, I wouldn't have thought about that. But I started, why? Because it was very genuine. I really wanted to help the community. I wanted to teach other people how they could make money from their houses, from their casitas on the backyard. And that's what it all means. It doesn't matter what business you're doing. It matters what's here, what's inside, that you are genuine, that you really truly believe that you are gonna be better if you take my aromatherapy oils. Like, I really truly believe that you are gonna rest better if you have this. And that's kind of where it all starts. Like, really knowing what to do with yourself, with your personal brand, and staying genuine to the product, to your business. Again, my parents, because they have this business in retail, like, it is that. So you do have to first acknowledge that, yes, you sell on TikTok, but you are still a retail business.
Yeah,
all right?
Yeah.
So you continue to be a retail business. What my dad taught me is that there's this cup, all right? And this cup gets filled up. You are only allowed to touch the things that overflow. If you have to go into this cup and you have to continue getting money from this cup, then you have to figure out a way on maybe pausing, doing something so that you no longer touch this cup. Right. Only what overflows you're able to use for your inventory, for anything that you wish to do. The reason why you need the cup and make sure that the cup is filled.
That's the cushion, right?
Yes, that's the cushion. And so the reason you need it, it's because you don't want to feel what you just told us recently. You don't want to be in the risk of, oh my God, this could all go away someday.
Yeah.
And so once you do get into that, hey, I have this cushion, I have this cup filled, then what can we do to work this and to make you more money without you having to work for that more money.
Right.
And so that's where you can definitely invest into like a small savings account. There's savings account that pay you right now 5%. And so you are able to you still have the money, you can still touch the money, but it's actually generating you some sort of interest.
Right.
Me personally, what I do is that I have a life insurance. There's life insurance that are called IULs, the Index Universal Life. I have probably about 5. Me personally, my daughter has 2, my husband has 5. So everybody in my family has these life insurance. But the reason why I use them is not because I'm gonna die, it's because you're able to put money into your insurance policy. That insurance policy generates you compound interest. And so you can get money from there, you can just be investing your money. The insurance policy invests your money into the S&P 500. Annually, you get about an 8% return, which is good. So this is like, and now you can get almost number. And again, I don't sell life insurance, okay? I'm just a user. I know I know how to use it. But the cool part about this IULs is that you have your own personal bank, and I love this part. So I get to borrow money from myself, and they charge me like a 3% interest, but that money that you borrowed, it still exists there. So it continues to grow and it continues to get compound interest, but now you're able to use that money. And so yeah, I'm paying a 3% back, but then you can use that money to do something else. And so you're never really losing the money that you invested into the S&P 500, where now you get more money. So I feel a lot, and I'll throw this in about your time management as well. I see you're working a lot, and man, dude, like I was there probably like 5 years ago. Right. And I was like, oh my God, this is too much work. Well, I've been working a long time to build my business, especially Airbnb business, to be automated. I don't have to be there. I have everything set up. My systems are flawless in the way that all of my messages are automated. I have a VA that I pay $5 the hour if there's anything that it's after hours. And then I have people here that work for me for my own company where they do the cleanings, they do the maintenance, and I'm just, collecting the money and living free. I don't pay for my mortgage. Everything's paid by the business, right? And so I know. But that's why it's very important. So my time management advice for you will be definitely find someone, and maybe you do have to hire more employees. Yeah, payroll's always gonna be the biggest thing. Payroll will always be the biggest thing, all right? But if it gives you back your time, is it worth it? Yeah, it is. So if you can find, and this is for anyone, if you can find someone to do 85% of your job, right? They don't have to do it 100%. Every business owner wants, every business owner wants to find that perfect employee that will do everything for them, just like they would have done it. And the truth is, no one's gonna do it like you because it's not their business, it's your business, and you're the one that's getting the big checks. So you just have to find someone that will do 85% of it correct, and that's fine. Why? Because now you can make you 10 times. I train people in a week, but it's depending on what you're teaching them. I think, and obviously, it's just knowing where you're heading. I mean, you know where you're going, nothing can stop you. But if you deviate from the plan, then there's always gonna be distraction. But again, right, we never know who we're gonna meet and who we're gonna run with, and then that they're just gonna not approve of you. But I mean, I own it. I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. And I think that's where it all starts. I believe what I'm doing. I believe my mission. I believe who I am. I'm not afraid or embarrassed to say it. When you realize that the problem, it's them, never you, then why would I be embarrassed to tell you, this is who I am? And if they don't like it, they can always move along. Obviously, yes, it is a little bit different. I'm a second generation business owner. My parents did such a great job. We already have generational wealth that now I can leave for my daughter, and I know that she can leave for her children if she decides to have any. My motivation every single day, it's just, I want to leave a legacy for my family, and I want to build generational wealth for them. I want to be Rockefellers. For me, my goal is I'm gonna be at Forbes list. I don't care if I'm the last person on that list, I'm gonna make it to Forbes list. Why? Because meaning me that I had to be on Forbes list, that means that I already made more than $1 billion. And so it doesn't really matter how I get there, but I know I'm gonna get there. But the reason why I'm doing it, the motivation that I have behind it, is because I want to make sure that my daughter has everything, and that my family, for the rest of my families, the legacy that I'm leaving behind, they're gonna have everything. And I know that a lot of people are always saying okay, the first generation worked for it, the second generation built it, and then the third generation destroys it, right? Because they spend it or something. I don't really think that's true. The way that I'm raising my daughter, she is such a kind, wholehearted little girl that I know that she's gonna learn how to be a boss, how to be an entrepreneur. And even if she doesn't decide to take it on for herself, the systems that I'm setting up for her, it's for her to just continue to get that without having to work it. If that's not what motivates her, if that's not something that she loves, that's okay. It's okay. I'm planning on being in this earth for a really, really long time, and she's gonna be there with me. And so I think it's just really making sure what you're bringing to your children, what you're teaching them, the self-confidence that you have to teach your children, it's no joke, because that's what's gonna set them aside from peer pressure. When someone pressures them into doing the wrong thing, they have now the confidence to say, wait, that's not right. That's not something I should do. Every single day, I fill up my daughter's self-confidence. And it's not by mistake, I do it intentionally. I know that there's gonna be a time where I'm not gonna be there for her when she's with her friends, and I have to be sure that she's gonna take the right decisions. But that's kind of where it all goes back. It's just family. For me, family is the most important thing. And I'll tell you guys a quick story. When I was growing up, my dad, I feel like I always talk about my dad. He's like the Asian, the typical Asian that has all of the proverbs. But my dad, he would always tell us when we were growing up, as long as you're under my umbrella, you're going to be fine. I'll take care of you. As long as you stay under my umbrella, you won't get wet. And so it was very, hard for us. I left my house when I was 17 years old. Like, I was that typical teenager that I'm like, nope, I'm gonna do whatever I want, right? And so I was very rebellious, and I ended up leaving. And then it wasn't until I left that I understood what he meant. Because once I started seeing my family, the business from the outside world, I was like, oh my God, like I'm over here, like it's pouring and I'm over here getting all wet and getting sick. If I would have stayed under my dad's umbrella, I would be fine right now. But I needed to do that in order to really be grateful for it and to value what my parents have been working all of these years. If I wouldn't have left and if I wouldn't have seen that, then I wouldn't be the person I am today. I needed to be grateful for all of the work, all the hard work. And so when we got married, my dad told this same story, and he kind of passed the umbrella to my husband, and I was like, nope, give that to me. I'm gonna hold the umbrella. No, I'm kidding, I didn't say that. But it was kind of like him saying like, oh, now she's not gonna be under my umbrella. Now she's gonna be under your umbrella. And I'll direct your attention to my husband. So our logo for Made by Seoenz, it's an umbrella. And so when we created this company, we wanted to bring that message through and showing our clients that if you choose to be with us, we're gonna take care of you. You're gonna be under our umbrella. And as long as you stay under our umbrella, as long as you stay being our clients, like you're fine, you're good. Obviously you get out, you're gonna get wet, but the whole motto of our company was, if you're under our umbrella, you're gonna be fine because we're gonna take care of you. And that has been something I have continued to brought up through every business that I have done. When you stay at my Airbnbs, that's what I'm saying to you. You're gonna stay at my Airbnbs, we're gonna take care of you. You want my design, we're gonna take care of you. Like every single thing that I've done, I bring it with that same idea of you're a client of mine, we'll take care of you and you're gonna be fine. So really finding something that you want to share to your clients, because it's a really nice story, really talking how my dad has just seen really providing for us all this time. And we made that umbrella much bigger. Because now our umbrella isn't just my husband and I's businesses. Like we've touched every business from my parents to my in-laws. Every single business is now ours. We make sure that those businesses make sales. We make sure that they are on everything that needs to be done. People know about them, but that has been something that we, instead of just keeping our umbrella, and I know sometimes like that happens where like it's just you and me. Yes, like we are the core. My husband and I, we are the core. But everything we touch becomes part of our umbrella. And so it just gets bigger and bigger by the day. And obviously that gets more stress or more work, but obviously more money too. So it works out. I think it came back to my passion. For me, Airbnb, it's not real estate. It's actually the hospitality industry. So when you do decide to be an Airbnb host, you are deciding to get into the hospitality industry. Real estate, there's so many ways to get into real estate. You can be a landlord, you can be a realtor, you can, be a sub to a wholesaler. There's flippers. I mean, you name it. I've never been a flipper, but I always, with the construction company that I had, we would just remodel our Airbnbs, and then we started remodeling other people's Airbnbs. So, to really answer your question, how did I find that niche? It was kind of like what made me more passionate about what I was doing. And so it came down to the hospitality. So the reason I got into Airbnb was because my dad was planning to retire. And so obviously, as being a good daughter, I was like, okay. So he came up, he's like, hey, you know what? I'm looking to retire. I want to retire in about 2 to 3 years. From everything that we have, what can we make it happen? How can we make that happen? I was like, you know what? This was back in 2017. We own a 14-unit apartment complex, and it has 3 commercial units on the bottom. But they were horrible. Like the last time that it was remodeled was like 20 years ago. And so they were super run down, and I was just like, well, just throwing it out here. I was like, we can do Airbnb. We can renovate these apartments and I can put them on Airbnb and we can see how that works. And so obviously it was a big investment. My dad had to put the money. I mean, it's his building, right? And so he had to put the money, but it was always with the plan, like I'm gonna retire, so I have to invest in order to get that retirement. My husband and I, we took this job, like pretty much like we said, okay, and between my husband and I, we DIY'd that freaking apartment building. It was so much work. It took us a whole year and a half to finish all 14 apartments. And the moment, I didn't wait for all the 14 apartments to be done. The first one I got done, I put on Airbnb. I didn't even have it completely furnished. I just had like a bed in there. I mean, this was back where Airbnb was super easy. Now you can't do that. But back then, like, I just put it up on there. It got booked. It was during December. And booked. And we were all running around trying to get all of the linens and all the things and just making it ready for the guests. There's so many things that I learned that first year in business. That's why I decided to create systems. That's why I know exactly what to do. My course and my ebook. I have an ebook now. I have a book. Forgot. Thank you. So we just published our book, which is called Host Like Heidy. But you know, all of that experience came through that year of us being in business and doing all the things that you shouldn't do. It was really, really lucrative, the amount of money that we could get. And so we saw the numbers the first year, the second year, and my dad retired. Now my dad gets a check every single month. He lived last year, 9 months out of the year, he lived in Korea. Like, he's retired, living the dream, he's chilling. And yeah, I manage his property. That property will soon be mine, obviously, but the fact is about me working for it. And I think a lot of the times for our children, you know, they're like, oh, well, you get everything. I have heard that story about me so many times that people just say, oh, it's because you come from business. You come from money. That's why you're so good at it. That's why you're so successful. And it's like, no, it's not. Because my brothers and my sisters, they also have the same parents, but they're not doing business. I am. And so it just really comes back to who you are, what you're trying to bring. But yes, I do agree with it. It was really, really nice for my dad to choose me. I'm not the oldest, I'm the middle child. And so to choose me to be the one to get him to retire. And so once he realized that, once he saw that, and he's like, yeah, I mean, you guys can do something to get me to retire. And so obviously getting to that point where he is retired and he is living his dream, he is doing whatever he wants. I do see maybe because you're first, it's not like you're gonna be in that position with me right at the same level right now. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that you can't get there. Right, of course. It'll take you some time, but you will get there. And if you don't get there, then your kids will get there or something, you know, like it doesn't mean like it's not attainable, but that is something that I love to do. And that's why I love to come to events like this and network, because it is kind of my aspiration is to inspire other people, especially women. Women in business actually are more mompreneurs. There's so many women entrepreneurs, more than men now, and most of them are moms. And so really coming in and showing that anything that I can do, you can have. And if that's not the case, then your kids can have that too. So I think that's really, really cool to show that to everyone. Not just El Paso, but I'm everywhere. I got the no right now. Right. If I don't go, if I don't say anything, it's already a no. Right. I might as well just go and tell them and they might say yes. I'll add something to that about the risk taking. Man, the reason I'm so successful today is because I have not been afraid to fail. I've never been more scared than when I left my house. I'm leaving a house. You could tell like, oh, she's a rich girl. She had all of it and she left. I've never been more scared than when I left my house at 17. And so from then on, everything I've done, everything I've tried, every business venture I've gotten into has never felt so scary as when I left my house. Because of that, I'm not afraid to fail. I lost that fear. Because, yeah, I mean, I could lose a little money, but what if I made it? What if I make a lot of money? What if I grow? What if I do this? What if I do that? Like, I mean, there's nothing that I can tell you right now, like, oh, you should do this. Try it all. And don't be afraid to fail. And build your community. I mean, really choose that community that you're trying to get from. Building that community, it's also what gives you that certainty. And a lot of people get imposter syndrome. But when you get that and find that community, then now you can see, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this. Like, it doesn't come back to just like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, who am I to think that I should be on TikTok? Like, I'm old or something. Like, no. The number two that pay the most, it's YouTube, Facebook. Those are the ones that you can make more money from Reels and like any sort of YouTube video. But TikTok Shop, it's killing it when it is about selling products. If you want to build a personal brand and you want to make money from what you're saying, Facebook, YouTube, they pay a lot. But if you want to sell products, you have to get like TikTok Shop, because that's where the money is. That's where people are buying constantly. But you're not gonna get there if you don't start just doing it. There's also like a secret. I do a lot of recording. Like now, for example, we're on vacation, and yeah, like we're recording and everything, but obviously I'm having a great time. Like it's not like I'm recording every single thing like 24/7. Like that will be like, no, that's not for me. But the things that we were recording, like it doesn't mean that you have to post it immediately. Like give yourself a break, give yourself time. Like you record on your phone, and then when you have time or you can't sleep at night, then you post the stories. No one's gonna know. Like, do you see that video? Like, no one's gonna know. Who's gonna know? Like, no one's gonna know. Like, really, like, no one's gonna know that you didn't post it immediately as you took that story. Like, you can save it. You can post it later when you do have time. And that frees up yourself. Like, you're not stressing, or imagine you don't have Wi-Fi and you're like, oh my God, like, there's no Wi-Fi and I can't post it. And it's like, so that's where, like, all of these things, like, all this stress comes from, like, having social. It's like, oh, it's because it's so stressful. Like I can't keep up. No, yeah, you can. There's ways, there's systems. Again, like I'm all about systems. Like there's systems on ways that you can just like, okay, I'll just record it now. I'll post it on the stories later on, whenever I have time. Or, you know, once you get to, you have a team, you have a marketing team, then you can upload it into a drive, you can upload it into a shared album, and it's their responsibility to post it whenever they need to post it. But that's something that I really worked with, because before I used to hate like making stories. My team would always be like on me, and they're like, we need stories, we need stories, we need stories, because like that's the engagement, and like we need stories. And I'm like I don't know, like I don't want to, because I felt like I had to post it, like I had to do the work. And so after that, it's like, okay, now I just record, I put it on the album, someone else can post it, they can put it, or if it's me, then once I have downtime, once I'm, you know, my kids are asleep, then I go and then I have the time and I can post about it. But it doesn't feel like either you had to have this team or you can do it yourself, but just don't put so much stress on you about the time limits. You can always do it later, and no one's gonna know that you just waited a couple of hours to post that story. Or maybe like, you know, that was a really cute outfit that I wore yesterday, but I didn't post anything. Well, I'll post it today. Like no one's gonna know that you wore that yesterday and that you're posting it today. Give yourself like that time to learn. This is a new trait you're learning. Like it's not easy. Like it is something that's why we pay marketing firms to do, because it is you know, time consuming, and it's also a lot of work. And when you're doing it first, that's why I know I was doing everything by myself a couple of years ago, like everything. I was like wearing all the hats. It is something that we have to learn how to do, and it's something that it's gonna help your business regardless of when you do it or how you do it. But yep, all right, well, thank you guys.